RFI RFC with Wabtec, request for comment, request for information, on the CPS 2000 Super Soaker Mark 1 and Mark 2, air pressure Super Soaker, and constant pressure Super Soakers from 1996 and 1997 that were discontinued, both of them, by 1998 by the Larami company. The second version had a longer pressure chamber time and required less pumping because it produced less power but was more consistent. The constant pressure super soaker idea. It was not publicly acknowledged as a change or announced. Both were then discontinued about a year later, and several statements are made. Now I'm going to give the obvious one and get it done. It wasn't any fun for the people using it. Whether it was too powerful for people and hurt kids, the joke literally of it was it shot some kid's eye out. Or two, they didn't like it because it wasn't fun for some reason, like it was too weak for the second version and the first one was too much of a pain in the rump to pump up so you could fire it, for having fun using a giant water gun. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is there was a video on YouTube that was put up in 2014 that was based on a blog post in 2007 by apparently the same user, Wayne Schmidt. He set up a blog and posted a comment about this in 2007 and claimed this was due to federal safety regulations or federal guidelines and or a ban and or a threat of a ban because it was after an injured kid rumor supposedly caused by this, quote, most powerful production toy water gun ever. Now, eBay puffery. People sell things on eBay that are considered forbidden fruit all the time to be edgy or edgelords, and they'll say, yeah, this thing is too good for the American public, banned, blah, blah, blah. If you're not aware of it, I'm over 50, and I'm from an era just at the tail end of when warning labels weren't done, safety regulations were essentially being created, and we still had lawn darts. I own 2 sets. And it's not a joke about lawn darts and people spilling coffee on themselves and blah, blah, blah. It really is. There's a bunch of stuff that should have never been sold. They were totally stupid to be sold, dangerous as hell. No reason, no call for it. A foam tip dart that's giant size will do just as good and a lot less damage. But the thing is that this is an example of something that sounds like an urban legend, including the you'll shoot your eye out kind of thing right there. The problem with this is someone stating with very good confidence that that's the reason it was taken off the market. I only found one source, a 2014 vid that was a video version of their own 2007 blog post, or at least referencing a blog post by someone. And that blog post was created, a decade after this occurred. So, during the period of time when Windows 95 came out and Windows 98 came out, a Super Soaker came out, was too powerful for the consumer market, was replaced by one that was lower pressure and different in the way it worked, and both of them were a flop and taken off the market. Or, quote, there's federal safety regulations or federal guidelines, and this caused a threat of or an actual ban. Now, the problem with this is I can't find federal guidelines concerning water. They're called water pistols or water toys. They have various names for them. The federal government's very inconsistent about this, but I have looked up something like this before for a not related item. If you want to know, it was for again, you have to be old. You'd pump up a little pump and it would make a little toy rocket fly in the air because it was filled with water. And it was called a hydro rocket or whatever. Those things had regulations because it was considered a projectile device. Because it threw a projectile instead of water. That's it. But, number one, I can't find a single instance of a lawsuit, whether it existed or was settled out of court, for a child involving this. Period. Nothing. Second, no grown-ups or any other kind of claims. Next, I can't find the usual moral panic news articles or newscasts. Next, Tipper Gore doesn't seem to be involved here, which I found amazing. I mean, this is totally up her alley, right? So the next thing is, I looked through the Wikipedia page and all of the tricks people use on Wikipedia to gatekeep information or erase or redact things, where they'll change the title of the page and somehow that erases the history before that date, or they'll do a page move which destroys the old page and completely obliterates all history to it, which is actually done a lot on Wikipedia. It's a really simple hack to get rid of stuff you don't want visible about your product or your company or whatever, so you'll just infiltrate, screw things up. Can't find that either. Literally, I don't see any evidence of it all. So I thought, okay, Consumer Product Safety Commission? No. Groups of people that watchdog this sort of thing? No. No references, no links, no nothing. Unless somebody got a lot of money to pay someone off, this is my conclusion and assumption, unless you have not only other information contradicting me, but it has to have a reference at this point. It really does. This sounds like something that someone would say by 2007 to sell these things on eBay. In fact, that's what it really looks like on the blog. Someone cut and pasting advertisements, splotches that say, oh yeah, banned in Boston. This is forbidden fruit. Come and get it while it's available before the cops get it, kind of stuff. That's what it looks like. I mean, the tone of it is a lot like that. Next, obviously, yes, these could have been products that caused injuries. No evidence I can find. Nothing. Which is very unusual. When there's a claim like this, you can almost always find it pretty quickly. Nothing. My Google foo fails. I can't find it. So, a request for information, request for comment. If you know, factually, a different story, other than this is poppycock and it's probably an eBay sales thing, if you know that you have a link to this or a source for it, newspaper, I don't care, anything, give me a hint, put it below. Otherwise, I'm going to consider that this is, as of now, the federal guidelines for toy water guns, the Super Soaker CPS 2000 incident. I'm going to say that it has, number one, there's nothing being offered to prove it. So therefore, it's self-debunked. Next, I'm going to say it's bunk because it sounds more like an ad on eBay. Exactly like a bunch of them we used to see. In fact, that kind of ad is excluded from eBay a lot of the time now because it's considered, it's not puffery of your product, it's just lying, and it's considered exploitive by a lot of people on eBay, but it still happens. Other than that, I don't know any more about it, other than this kind of stinks of an urban legend almost. That's about it. Thanks for watching. If you have comments, great. I'm pretty sure no one's going to care about this. Also, I'd like to point out, I set up my web page where I put up stuff. If anybody wanted to see it, I would direct them to it. If people had questions, I'd give them the link to it. Not promoting my page, but just here's the information. It's the best I could look up. And I find out, years later, people have used my web page when it was at that website, still is, and had a link that pointed to it saying they did research based on it. This happens now with my videos because a lot of my video ideas come from me looking up stuff and just putting it up on the web, so, here, and allow it to be visible, like people doing blogs and stuff. Just because search engines didn't pay any attention to the page doesn't mean you couldn't find it. In fact, for a while, my page came up a lot for a couple of random subjects because I do hundreds of random ones, just like my YouTube channel. So this is going to be yet another video where I put up a request for comment, request for information, and, scream into the void, and if you have the information, great, but it has to have a link. I need something. Even if it's, I have a newspaper article in an old newspaper here, or a clipping, figure out what year it is and what newspaper it is, and I'll try to dig up a cleaned up copy of it, and that'll be in the description. If there isn't the word update directly below in the video, when you see this video, if it's still up a week or a year from now, that means I don't have any further information. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that, and wish me luck with this, or I'm just going to erase this off my desktop, and I probably won't get an answer.